Hi, Sat Sri Akal, Namaste, Adab, and welcome to the Mindfulness with Yogini podcast, episode 14. The season has already come to an end. I just can't believe it. I'm your host, Aarti Kukreja, hosting the last episode of this podcast. And today, we're going to talk about something that affects every single one of us on a day-to-day basis, the struggle to find the balance. Man's limitless desires and extreme external environments at the beginning of time left him both dissatisfied and fearful. Over millions of years, these feelings have driven man to chase more than he really needs or ever wants, resulting in a deep, gnawing discontentment no matter what he achieves. It's like jumping from one branch to another, much like our ancestors, or chasing extremes and paying hefty consequences for it. But does man know that balance exists and he can live in it? Let's discover. Imagine if man were a pendulum in default mode and constantly oscillating from one extreme to another due to his desires and opposing external forces. He never quite hangs in the balance where life can be lived in peace, joy, and contentment. Instead, man often finds himself living in extremes, avoiding reality altogether. Some examples might hit close to home. A highly stressed person seeks numbness through drugs. An overthinker avoids all thoughts and emotions by overworking. Or someone who feels devoid of self-worth attracts the most superficial, worldly possessions to feel worthy. Or maybe even an extremely hyperactive person seeks calm by moving to the Himalayas. These distractions we create. These are actual distractions that we create to avoid facing our current mental and emotional states. We've touched upon this in previous episodes, but let's revisit some of them. The fact is that man's reality often involves unconsciously building illusions to cover up what's really going on inside. There are 5 levels that man can live in, and most of us live between levels 2 and 4, with level 3 being a rare state to maintain. Some might even dare to level to venture 1 or 5. Let's briefly explore each one of these. Level 5 is, while I'm not discouraging anyone from living a monk's life, and it's rather extreme for most of us, it really does involve giving up our family, social, and worldly life to live in solitude constantly by learning and practicing and experiencing all our emotions every single moment, except for maybe in rare instances. Monks might actually live in balance, but I can't help but wonder if living away from the world's chaos makes it easier to acquire Zenhood than dealing with today's biased, misinformed, lonely, stressful, and abusive digital jungle. While I've personally witnessed monks handle real-life stress much better than others, we can't ignore the fact that they spend years practicing this, unlike us mere mortals who don't have as much time to invest in our mental self-development. Let's now move to level 4. We've all met someone like this. They're too scared to try new positive things. They avoid doing, thinking, or feeling anything unless absolutely necessary, and they live in a constant flux of insecurity and fear, avoiding success, connections, and stunt their mental and emotional growth. Level 3. This one is kind of hard to define, as no one is always living in awareness every single moment, but living in balance means being as aware as required in crucial moments and the ability to experience, learn, and grow from the present moment without harming yourself or someone else. Let's talk about level 2. This is where many people might actually reside. Their neglected childhoods have traumatized them, leading them to attract similar connections in adulthood because it feels familiar. Perhaps they still need more thrill and adrenaline than others need, or they constantly seek high-intensity, electrifying, dramatic situations, from extreme sports to passionate yet volatile lovers. They genuinely play both extremities excellently as it suits them. Some examples can be they can be both victims and emotional abusers. They can be extremely dependent or hyper-individualistic. They can be over-clingy or extremely detached, immensely lazy, or constantly prone to burnout or overworking, or they might also be people who are people pleasers or highly dismissive and condescending towards other people. They live in a paradoxical state at all times, unsure of what they truly feel and very less aware of who they really are. Now, let's talk about level 1. Individuals have experienced extreme childhood traumas, and unfavorable current environments have led them to overindulge in destructive behaviors like excessive sex or drugs, even crime for that matter. The default subconscious mode runs deep, and they operate from a place of primal instincts, leading to extreme and erratic behaviors that's often reckless and dangerous. So, what's living in balance? In my opinion, living in balance means being largely aware of your thoughts, feelings, and emotions at any given time, and understanding the root causes of most things that lead up to perhaps your childhood, and embarking on a constant journey to heal from this trauma and suffering. It's about being aware both of your inner and outer realities and living in harmony with both. So let's explore what experts believe living in balance means, with examples of extreme living and the challenges we face while trying to live in balance, and how to cultivate that balance in our day-to-day life in today's digital world. In our frantic world, we're constantly bombarded with messages urging us to do more, have more, be more, the next promotion, the newest gadget, and the most perfect social media image, which often leads us to neglecting our real well-being. This relentless pursuit of extremes leaves us feeling burnt out, dissatisfied, and ultimately imbalanced. The human tendency towards extremes, our inherent desire for growth, can push us towards extremes. Psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi says in his seminal work that flow describes this as hedonistic treadmill, the tendency to constantly adapt to pleasurable experiences, numbing their impact over time. We chase the initial high of acquiring something new, but the satisfaction quickly fades, leading us to seek the next thrill. This isn't just about material possessions. We can also swing between extremes in our physical health by overtraining at the gym or neglecting exercise altogether and ignoring our body completely. We can become information overloaded, constantly bombarding ourselves with news and social media, or retreat entirely from intellectual stimulation. The next one is the allure of excess. Our modern world is brimming with temptations, constantly urging us to consume more, experience more, and achieve more. Advertising bombards us with messages which equates happiness to materialistic possessions. Social media feeds showcase a curated reality of seemingly perfect lives filled with exotic vacations, designer clothes, and desirable experiences. This relentless pressure to acquire and achieve can fuel a sense of inadequacy and never-ending chase for the next best thing. However, true fulfillment doesn't lie in accumulating possessions or chasing fleeting trends. It lies in cultivating a sense of balance and living in alignment with your values. The next one is the roots of our extremism. Evolutionary programming. Our hunter-gatherer ancestors thrived by seeking new resources and pushing boundaries. This survival instinct can manifest as a relentless drive for achievement and novelty in our modern lives. Dopamine dependency. When we experience something new or achieve a goal, the brain releases dopamine, a neurotransmitter associated with pleasure and reward. This dopamine hit can become addictive, leading us to constantly seek out activities that trigger it, even if they are ultimately detrimental. The fear of missing out, what we usually call FOMO. In today's hyper-connected world, we are constantly bombarded with curated snapshots of other people's seemingly perfect lives on social media. This can fuel a fear of missing out and drives us to strive for experiences and possessions we see others flaunting, even if they don't really align with us and our values. Societal expectations. Social pressures around beauty, success, and productivity can always make us feel inadequate about ourselves unless we constantly strive for an unattainable ideal. These expectations can be particularly damaging during vulnerable life stages such as adolescence and young adulthood. Examples of extremism in everyday life. The workaholic. This individual prioritizes work above all else, neglecting their physical, emotional, and mental well being in their relentless pursuit of professional success. They may burn out quickly, experiencing chronic stress, anxiety, and serious health problems. The next one is the social butterfly. This person craves constant social interaction, flitting from event to event and filling their schedules with commitments. Despite being surrounded by so many people, they might actually struggle with loneliness and isolation as they lack the depth of connection from this quality time with loved ones. The health nut. This individual becomes obsessed with achieving the perfect physique or adhering to a rigid diet. Their focus on extreme calorie restriction or intense exercises routines can lead to nutrient deficiencies, injuries, and even a distorted body image. The information junkie. This person feels compelled to constantly stay connected and informed by consuming news and social media content relentlessly. The constant information overload can lead to anxiety and difficulty in focusing on things that are important, and definitely feel like they have decision fatigue. Challenges to maintaining balance in the digital age. The digital age obviously presents very unique challenges in achieving balance in your life. Here's a breakdown of some of the biggest hurdles that we face constantly. The first one is constant connection. Smartphones and social medias have blurred the lines between work and personal life. We bombarded ourselves with notifications and emails, making it difficult for us to disconnect and recharge. This constant state of semi-arousal can negatively impact sleep quality, focus, and overall well-being. Information overload. The internet offers a vast and ever-expanding ocean of information, making it easy to get overwhelmed and lose focus. Multitasking with technology can also significantly reduce productivity and cognitive performance. We all shift between tasks because we get bombarded by endless alerts and social media updates, and this incredible amount of streams of content that hinders our ability to actually dedicate sustained attention to any one given thing. The comparison trap. Social media platforms often showcase unrealistic portrayals of people's lives, which is meticulously curated with the best photos, filtered experiences, and carefully crafted narratives. This constant exposure to seemingly perfect lives can lead to feelings of envy and inadequacy. We compare our messy realities to the highlight reels and fuels a cycle of self-criticism and a constant search for external validation. The algorithm addiction. Social media is designed to be addictive. Sophisticated algorithms track our online behavior, feeding us content that keeps us engaged and coming back for more. This endless scroll trap puts us in a loop of dopamine hits with each other, of liking, sharing, commenting, reinforcing our need for validation amongst each other. This constant engagement can erode our ability to focus and disrupts our sleep patterns and fuels anxiety and loneliness. Instant gratification culture. The digital world has conditioned us to expect immediate results. Whether it's ordering food, streaming a movie, or getting instant feedback on a post, we become so accustomed to getting our needs and desires satisfied instantly that this culture makes it difficult and challenging for us to cultivate patience and resilience and the ability to delay rewards, which is essential for long-term well-being and success. So what does living in balance truly mean? It's about embracing a holistic approach that considers every facet of your life: mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual. So let's dive a little deeper and understand some practical strategies to cultivate balance in this chaotic world. Number one, it's very essential to define your values. Clarify your core values and understand what truly matters to you, whether it's your family or health or personal growth or creative expression. Take time to reflect on it and ensure it aligns with who you really are, which will help you filter out distraction and focus on what's meaningful. Number two, practice mindful consumption. Be mindful of what you consume, both physically and mentally. Whether it's the food that you eat, the media that you consume, or the people you surround yourself with, make intentional choices that nourish your mind, body, and soul. Set boundaries with technology to avoid falling into the trap of mindless scrolling or overconsumption. Number 3, cultivate healthy habits. Adopt daily rituals that support your well-being. This could include meditation, exercise, journaling, or spending time in nature. Small, consistent habits can have a significant impact on your overall well-being and resilience. Number 4, embrace imperfection. Let go of this need of perfection. Recognize that balance isn't a static state, but a really dynamic process. There will be times when life feels off kilter, and that's okay. Embrace the ebb and flow and give yourself permission to rest and recalibrate whenever required. Number 5, seek connection and community. Nurture relationships that uplift and support you. Surround yourself with a community that shares your values and embraces your growth. Prioritize quality time over quantity interactions and invest time in building meaningful connections. Number 6, prioritize rest and recovery. In this fast-paced world, rest is often undervalued. However, rest and recovery are essential for maintaining balance. Ensure you get adequate sleep, take breaks throughout the day, and engage in activities that replenish your energies. Set boundaries. Establish clear boundaries to protect your time and energy and well-being. Learn to say no to commitments that don't align with your value or that stretch you too thin. Boundaries empower you to focus on what truly matters and prevents burnout. Number 8, embrace mindfulness. Cultivate mindfulness in your life. Practice being present fully in the current moment, whether you're eating or working or just spending time with your loved ones. Mindfulness helps you tune into your inner state, making it easier to recognize when you're veering off extremes and need to recalibrate. Number 9, reflect regularly and reassess. Regularly reflect and reassess. Take time in your day-to-day life to reflect on your priorities and reassess them whenever required. Are you staying true to your values? Are you living in alignment with your desired state of balance? Use the reflections as a tool to course correct and make intentional adjustments. By embracing these strategies, you can begin to break free from the cycle of extremities and create a life that feels balanced, purposeful, and fulfilling. Remember, balance isn't about doing everything perfectly. It's about making choices that align with your values and overall support your own well-being and priorities. So, to conclude, balance is not a destination, but a journey. It's about finding harmony in the midst of life's chaos and learning to navigate the swings of the pendulum with grace and resilience. As you move forward, remember that true balance comes from within. It's not something that can be achieved through external validation or materialistic possessions. It's a state of being that arrives from living in alignment with your values, embracing mindfulness, and cultivating self-awareness. So take a moment to reflect, pause, and ask yourself, what does balance really mean to you? How can you create more of it in your life? And by exploring these questions, you'll be able to live a balanced life that's also deeply fulfilling. So thank you so much for joining me for the last episode in Season 2 of the Mindfulness with Yogini podcast. I hope that my thoughts inspire you to take steps towards living a more balanced life. So this is Aarti Kukreja, your host, signing off from the Mindfulness with Yogini podcast Season 2 with its last episode. Sat Sri Akal, Namaste, Adab, and bye-bye.